Okay. We'll start.
สวัสดีค่ะทุกคนสวัสดีนะครับทุกคนเช้านี้
The first session on Sunday morning, 24th of September. We have a really
วันที่
exciting panel for you
24
this
นะครับ
morning.
มีช่วงที่น่าตื่นเต้น
Three
สำหรับพวกเรา
activists from
มี
different parts of the
นักกิจกร
region
รม
that will be sharing about different campaign and advocacy experiences and
การ
approaches
ทำงาน
from
นะครับและ
across
วิ
the
ธีการทำ
region.
งานต่าง
So we'll start off with a short performance
ๆ เราจะเริ่มจากการแสดงเล็ก
Aung Khant Thu,
ๆ
who's
จาก
going
ออง
to
คันตูนะ
do
ค
a
รับออง
short
คันตู
performance to share a bit about what's happening in Myanmar, and that'll be followed by 3 short presentations, after which we'll open the floor up for some discussion and question and answer following what the speakers have presented. So without further ado,
เราก็จะมาพูดกัน
Aung, can I
เรื่อง
invite
ของ
you
นั
to
ก
the
กิจกรรม
front
อี
for
กทั้
your
ง 3 คนนะ
performance,
ครับขอ
please?
เชิญคุณอองคันตูออกมาแสดงนะคะทำการแสดงได้เลยค่ะ
And something that you want to do in the future. There's a lot of things I want to do in the future as well. I want to be happy. I want to go back my home country, Myanmar. In the you finish writing, could you please come here and give me those paper?
Sorry, I need time to process. Thank you, Aung, for that very powerful performance to share what is happening in to put it very mildly, very challenging circumstances. We'll have an opportunity to hear a bit more from Aung about his experience in that intersection between art and advocacy and campaigns. Because, a key thing about campaigns is how do we get our messages across to different audiences? And there are different ways to do that. So for now, we're going to introduce our next speaker, who is Jhewoung from Step Sierra Madre. He'll be sharing a bit about some of the campaign experiences about dams in the Philippines, particularly focusing on the Kaliwa Dam. So, Jhewoung, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna sit. Do the people from the back can see me? Yeah, thank you so much. Can I have my slides now? Thank you. Of course, we would like to thank the all organizers of this event who made this possible. Thank you so much. So yeah, I'm going to talk about the campaign experience in the Philippines, specifically on our struggle, community's struggle against Kaliwa Dam. Next. First, I'm going to introduce you my organization. It's called Southern Tagalog for Environmental Development and Protection of Sierra Madre Mountain Range. It was founded years after the 2004 tragedy that killed thousands of people in my community. The founders of these organizations were the survivors of that 2004 tragedy, the young people who survived. I was also one of the survivors way back then. As you can see in the photo, we've been campaigning since our foundation. Next, please. We've been doing mobilizations, school-based conference, seminar, as well as different consultations for communities, for different sector leaders. And our situation there is kind of, it's hard for our community in terms of these days because our community is having this issue on Kaliwa Dam. But then, Step Sharamari can be found in the three provinces in the Philippines, in Quezon Province, in Laguna, and in Rizal. I just want to show you that there are 39 dams in the Philippines right now, and there are 12 dams that are owned by our government, the National Power Corporation. As you can see, it's located in different areas of the Philippines. Next, please. I want to show you how long the Sierra Madre Mountain Range is. It goes beyond different regions, and the Philippines dubbed the Sierra Madre Mountain Range to be the backbone of the Luzon region, the Luzon mainland in the Philippines, because it helps protect the people from the other side of the mountain. Next. Within Sierra Madre Mountain Range, there are several dams already built. We have the Iban Dam, but not operated. We have this Sumag Diversion, Umira Diversion, and other dams in Sierra Madre Mountain Range. And as you can see in the photo, there is this Kaliwa Dam. This is the location where the Kaliwa Dam will be built, but it's not yet built, okay? And as you can see also, we have Kalan Dam, which is 3 times the size of Kaliwa River. On this slide, I want to show you that that is the location of Kaliwa Dam, and that Infanta town is my hometown. And we are just at the foot of the mountain where the Kaliwa Dam is located. So, as of today, the Kaliwa Dam construction is already at 23%, meaning the access road from the main road going to the site is already built, and they have now started the construction of tunnel from Teresa Rizal going to the mouth of the Kaliwa River. Next. So aside from this, the situation where the Kaliwa Dam is located is in between two fault lines. It's called the Philippine fault line and the Valley fault line. And we all know that any construction within or near the fault line, it should not be built because later on, if there will be earthquakes, the construction or any construction will collapse. So there are threats to human lives as well as different species living in the Sierra Madre Mountain Range. According to the study conducted by JICA, Kaliwa will be constructed in Sierra Madre where earthquakes is frequent. And of course, the vegetation that produces methane that is 30 times toxic to our Energy Engineering Corporation Limited, and they are the ones who are working with this Kaliwa Dam. The reason why we are trying to go against this construction is because the world has been saying that there should be no megadam construction across the globe already, because we know how disastrous, and how destructive these megadams in our for our environment. And not just that, um, there are people who will be affected, directly affected by this construction. There are indigenous peoples, as you can see in the numbers, both in Quezon province and Rizal province in the Philippines, as well as individuals who are living at the foot of the mountain, who will be directly impacted and affected by this Kaliwadam constructions. And not just these numbers, because we know that the waters do not go to specific places; they go everywhere there's a space. So we are assuming that there are more numbers aside from this number that is written on the slide. With this number of affected indigenous peoples, the government is trying to persuade almost all the local government units to become pro Kaliwada, meaning the national government is trying to persuade the local government to say yes to this construction. The sad thing is that one of the local governments, one of the towns in Quezon province, have agreed to this, the General Nakar town, and some of the indigenous peoples actually were fooled by this construction, by this development aggression. Why? Because um, at the height of this issue, the national government and the MWSS, the Manila Water Sewer System, offered 20 million, 20 million first for the disturbance fee, for the royalty fee, to the indigenous peoples. And then this year, around February, they offered 160 million for both communities, 80 million for Quezon and 80 million for Rizal province. And of course, for you to be able to have some amount of that 80 million, you have to sign a paper. And so the signatures that this contractor and this proponent got were used to have documents so that they can push this Kaliwadam construction. And so ever since then, we've been campaigning. Can you go back to the last slide? Step Sharamade has been campaigning for that. Like the slides before, the one with the other one. Go back. Yeah, this one. We've been campaigning and protesting in front of different departments in the Philippines to show the struggle of the young people, as well as different sectors in the community where the Kaliwadam is located. We've been doing house to house campaigning, giving leaflets, as well as our continuous mobilizations. You can see at the side that there is river, right, at the back of this photo on the lower part of the slide. That Agus River will die if ever that the Kaliwadam will be constructed. So aside from that, because our area is actually an agricultural land, and it will submerge 24,000 hectares of agricultural land. So it also would mean a problem in terms of our food security. As you may know, our province is cocoa farmland, as well as we have it's a rice granary for other neighboring towns. And also, we were able to persuade and ask our local government unit in Front of Quezon to pass a resolution saying that our very own town is saying Kaliwadam. And with that, the young people in our community in other neighboring provinces have been campaigning for this Megadam construction. Next. And we are also experiencing different challenges or problems because killings, red taggings, intimidation, and other harassments have been in our part in everyday lives. We've been experiencing this since this Kaliwadam issue has arisen. And of course, aside from that is different theoretical and ideological differences of different organizations who should be working together to really push for the anti-Kaliwadam campaign. And so our call for this morning, next please, is for the Kaliwadam and all the dams in the Philippines should be is a profit for foreign investors, not the human lives and death of our nature. So we must save our remaining rainforest. We are trying our best to save our remaining rainforest in the Philippines, and we are asking everyone to do their best, to do their part in saving our environment. Because in the Philippines, we've been experiencing a lot of typhoons, we've been experiencing flash floods, and that's quite sad because we are in the Pacific Ocean. Our houses are destroyed. Our communities are submerged because of so much flooding. And so this is the only thing that we can do to save our lives and to save the next generation, our future to be exact. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hello? Yeah. Hey, mate. Is it working? Okay. Thanks for that, Jhewoung. The story that you shared, as someone that's worked on dam and river issues for quite a few years, mainly in the Mekong region, there are some common threads, like the key question about who is actually benefiting and how they exercise their power for their own interests and benefits. But it's also been exciting to hear about some of the strategies and actions that you're taking through a variety of tactics that you touched upon in terms of local mobilization, but also lobbying and campaigning your local government unit to actually take a position that reflect local people's concerns and express opposition to the dam. So we will have more opportunity for discussion when we move to the panel. So may I invite our next speaker, which is Molika from Social Action for Community Development in Cambodia. And she'll be sharing about some of their initiatives to highlight the voices of people's struggle in Cambodia. Thank you, Malika.
Hello, so I might sit down because I'm very stressed. Yes. So once again, my name is Molika, and I would like to thank Mel for having SACD joining this event. Actually, I work with SACD for a short period of time, and in this field, I can say that I'm a beginner. Yeah. But while working with SACD, it's opened my eye wide about SACD work. Oh, I forgot. Oh yeah. That is the full name for SACD. Yeah. And what really got my interest is about the APA, which in full is Asian Grassroots People Assembly Art and Solidarity, which was held in November 2022. This event is really important. The main purpose of this event, we have three purposes. The first one is to organize a space for people to raise their voice. People from different sectors such as sex worker, garment worker, student, farmer, and some activists. And the second one is to exercise human rights. And the third one is to and the third one is to show about what they really need, or what is the main problem. I think this event is a big success because we can mobilize up to 900 ground people, and it was joined by others 73 people from other nations. Actually, for this event, we also come across some problem, especially the democratic space restriction. However, we still managed to come through it successfully. Aside from that, we have worked with a lot of document. We have worked a lot with evidence-based document. From our approach, we do some participatory research. We like create some video, and we also translate some document from our partner. Beside from this, from our work, we also work with people from different sectors, just as I mentioned, like farmer, student, or youth, and other sector. But the thing is that we come across so many challenges, especially with the restriction. Apart from this, we also like like from our work, we believe that if we equip people with knowledge, information, and so they are able to demand their rights, claim their own need, or like to address the issue. Like from our work, whatever that we do, we always we always include women involvement, because we think that if women was giving enough opportunity, knowledge, and information, we will make a greater society. And the core importance of our work is we always like people activity, ground people activity, and initiative. So I think that's all of my presentation. And actually, from my own perspective, as a young generation, I can say that I'm young. Yeah, I truly believe that if we all come together and uniting together, we can make a greater society and a greater living situation for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Molika, for that. I think that was also sharing that example of the ASEAN Grassroots People's Assembly, because I think something like that is really important, because often we don't have that space, and it's sometimes important as part of campaign to create our own spaces. And the fact that you're able to bring almost 1,000 people together, that's sharing what's happening on the ground, as well as, with sort of other groups from the region, I think is quite an inspiring example, and we'll have a bit more opportunity, hopefully in the discussion, to also hear a bit more about some of the other people-led initiatives, because I know, your group with partners have also, like you touched upon, been very key on supporting participatory action or grassroots action research. So that is sort of documenting people's knowledge from their perspectives and finding spaces and opportunities to have those voices, knowledge, and experiences heard and recognized. So thank you so much for that. Now I'd like to invite Aung Khant back to panel. He is an artist and activist. Following his very powerful performance to open the panel, he's going to share some of his stories and experience in terms of the intersection between art and activism. Over to you.
Thank you so much. I might sit down as well. So it's so nice to meet you, and I really want to be here and presenting the experience that what I do as an artist, and also the grassroots operator as well. So my name is Aung Khant Thu, but I from the Myanmar. But I lived there for like only short, 10 years, and I had to migrate to the Mesot. So Mesot is a pretty common area for the Burmese people. So I lived there for around 11 years as a migrant, and I studied there as well. And so Mesot is my second hometown, and I could say that. And I think I'm already half Thai already, even though I'm not born here. So I speak Thai a little, I understand. So yeah, during my stay in the Mesot, I practice the art and theater performance. So we have Equality Myanmar. By that time, we call the United Art and Obama Art, which focus on the advocacy for the art, and mainly focus on the theater performance, performing the art. So that. We focus on the anti-child trafficking issue, and also human rights issue and the migrant rights issue. So whatever rights came in, we show those rights to the performance art and performance art as well. So we focus on the borderline, but later on we move back to the Myanmar, and so like we have a lot of novel regarding to the performance in Myanmar as well, but not now anymore. So we already stopped it since this COVID because of some sort of funding as well. Yep. So we have the terms called artist and activist. So when those two terms came together, we call as an activist. It is just makeup from the artists. So those are the artist people, but also they also like interest in the activist area as well. So like we combine together activist. So we call me activist sometimes. I'm very flexible artist and activist too. Sometimes I'm an artist only. Sometimes I'm an activist too. Depends on the situation. But this is my background. But also mainly I working as a youth community engagement power programs as a coordinator at the Benin Education Foundation. So I think some of you might know the Benin Education Foundation, which we focus on the providing the higher education access platform to the marginalized community. So including underprivileged community and the migrant and refugee as well in the Chiang Mai. But we also focus on the Metro and we also focus on the Ranao area. So we also have an office back in Myanmar as well, but now we suspended for a while. So I working there as a official title there, but meanwhile I also do the advocacy stuff in the Chiang Mai. So I already moved up to Chiang Mai right now. I no longer located in the Metro anymore since like last 4 years ago. So the whole period of living in Thailand will be like around 13 or 15 years. So half of my life. Yes. So what did I do in Chiang Mai is that right after the group, this like 2021 group, I start practicing again my performance art, and I did with the collaborating with the performance theater based in Thai activists and Thai performer in Chiang Mai. So the Thai community and also the activist community is really supportive whenever we do the like performance to advocate what is happening in Myanmar. So we did it a few events already, and as you might know that Chiang Mai is and also Metro is the place where most of the organization relocated back from Myanmar to Chiang Mai or the Metro. So a lot of activities going on like pop up there. But there is no like the main event as a performance targeting to what is happening in Myanmar. Which we do mainly because it's came with the risky barriers that sometimes we had to like we need a lot of like resources, we need a lot of human resources as well, and also because the security is important. Sometimes we are also tracked by the related embassy and consulate for those who participate in those events as well. So like, whenever we do it, we make it always sure that we are safe. First, in this case, Thai activists, Thai community came in the front that they will be, like we bring the like lawyer or the person who can talk about the law. So like they are in the front. Whenever we do at the back, they always protected us. So this is how we collaborate the community in Chiang Mai. But for now, we kind of stop for a while due to the situation that happening in Thailand. Like the election period was just done so far, and also sometimes like the last event we do about the 7 students. I think you might know about the 7 students that like the sentence in the jails. So we try to advocate that sentence, and we send the open letter collaborating with the university student committee in Thailand like Chiang University or the Thammasat student committee and the different student committee in the like different regions in Thailand, and we gather those open letter and send it to the consulate or the embassy. And since that time, I think we started fire. So we had to like kind of back up for a while, and because they have like many ways to track down the student, because we mainly work with the student. Those are really active as well, and because let's say like they have a like very easy way to track down the student and threaten the or like participant who are the student. For example, if we need to do the passport renewal, we need to go to the like those related embassy and the consulate. But again, they have like detailed information of what we are doing, and so that like it's the way of like the approach that they try to stop at from like what we are doing, advocating stuff. Sometimes they even call the particular student. They have like number that who tracking down the like who are participate in this kind of event or those kind of event. Make sure next time you don't participate. If not, if you participate again, we will track you down or the like will not renew your passport, so that you need to go back to Myanmar. Something that like very underlying with that they can track us down. So that right now we kind of like back up and we do what we stay doing what we want to do or the way we are doing like as a low profile as well. So again, apart from the artists and performance theater, sometimes you might get confused. It's like, what is again performance art, right? Don't ask me again. Sometimes those are like corresponding each other. So if you see, this is what you see. Yeah, and apart from those like experience, I also working for the some kind of different project relating to the skateboarding trainings for those who are at risk individuals relocated in the Myanmar or in the Meso or in Chiang Mai. So we provide a different kind of language proficiency classes, and sometimes we provide the material support. But now we're trying to target mainly the psycho support for those communities. Yep. So yeah, there's a lot of like barriers, and I think I'm open for the questions that we came later in the panel discussion. And yeah, you can ask me anything. If I have no idea, I will say no idea. So thank you so much for having the time here.
Thank you, Aung Khant, for sharing your story and experience. I got to learn a new term, artivist. I hope we will have many more artivists that are around and growing in this region and beyond. But also, I think some of the experiences that you shared also similar to what Jhewoung was sharing around intimidation and threats and how that manifests in different ways, in different contexts for campaigners, and the importance to ensure that fellow campaigners as well as yourselves do stay safe and ensure that they can be aware of how to manage those risks going forward. So I think now we're going to open it up to the floor. So can I ask all the three speakers to come up, the three panelists to come up to the front? Natalia. Can I? Oh, no. I'm just moving the chair. Okay. Thank you to all three of you for great sort of opening talks to sort of set the scene about your respective contexts and some of the campaigns and experiences that you as individuals, but your organizations and networks have been leading on. I might open up to the floor if there's any sort of burning questions or clarifications from each of the talks. Don't be shy. No? Okay, let's get them warmed up. Can I start? So I think maybe this is a question for all three of you, because all three of you talked or raised the issue around youth engagement, youth involvement in sort of the different activities and campaigns. So can you share briefly sort of why it's important to engage youth in the campaign or advocacy activities that you have been doing, and how, and maybe some examples of how you have done that? Who wants to go?
Hello. Yeah, for our struggle, the very reason why we're doing the struggle for our community is because we have no choice. We have no choice but to fight for our very own lives. We have to fight for our livelihood, for our tenure in our community. It's not that we wanted to really struggle with it, but because we are under threat. And of course, because of that existence, our community is really under stress, under frustrations. They are fearing that because of this construction, they will just die without knowing. Because way back 2004 tragedy, people died because it happened during the dawn time, around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning. So people were all sleeping. And I was there standing in front of our house, trying to grab something so that I will not be drowned by the flood. And so, based on my experience, it's something that we cannot just ignore. It is something that we are forced to do because we want to save our future. Because we don't want to see the trees only on the television. We don't want to see animals only on the photos, but we want to see them firsthand with our own eyes. And we are doing our organizing by going to different communities, not just those who are going to be affected directly, but those who are part of the struggle, part of the Sierra Madre Mountain Range. We talk to them, we invite them, we educate them about the threats and the problems with regards to, for example, this specific development aggression, the Kaliwa Dam. And also we are trying to tell them that this construction, this Kaliwa Dam construction is not really going to benefit the community. It's only going to benefit those companies, corporations who have big businesses that needs water. Because the Kaliwa Dam construction is a solution for the government to resolve the water crisis in main city in Manila, in the Philippines. And the problem is that it's not the water coming from the different dams will not be really for the masses, not really for the poor people, but for those big businesses like condominiums, golf courses, malls who need a lot of volume of water. And yet our government is saying that there are water crisis. There is water crisis. And so what will be the benefit to the community? The benefit for the community is only climate injustices, climate crisis, and different struggles. Since we are experiencing different typhoons almost every year. And the destruction or the construction of Kaliwa Dam will definitely submerge, just like what I said earlier, the land, the ancestral land of the indigenous peoples, as well as it will submerge the people living at the foot of the mountain. So yeah, what we do is we go to different communities, organize them, educate them, and let them decide for themselves to do their action on whatever actions they can to support the struggle of our communities. Thank you.
Molika, would you like to share?
So for us, why we involve youth in our program? Because we think that youth is really important for our development and also for a better living situation. And actually, you know that all like people for older generation they will pass away. So if younger generation they don't equip with like knowledge information, so there's no one there to address the issues. There's no one there to to raise their demand. And if not now, so when? And like how we do it. So we try to involve them in different programs. So for our organization, we have a youth program, but under that we have like four small other program. So like it was a trip and stuff. And the thing is that we're trying to connect them to like people from community. We try to connect them to people like older generation so that they can pass the information, share experience, and like young people they are like they have the will to continue the change, or they have the will to continue the mindset for a better living world.
Thank you, Malik.
Yes. So I working as a youth community engagement program as a coordinator. So I had to work with a lot of youth, like including we have intensive youth. It means like because we focus on we are in the Chiang Mai or in Thailand, so we target different kind of youth, right? So their background will be different, ethnicity will be different as well, and education level is also different. But again, what we're targeting is the marginalized youth who are also like politically injured, and also who are the migrant, economic migrant, or cross-border migrant, or the refugee, or who live in like who was born here have no like ID card, and those kind of like underprivileged youth we mainly targeted because. I believe that those community have like very little chances and opportunity, regardless of regardless of like it's not relating to the like current political situation, no? Because the community in the migrant area has been like a long time suffering from the like lack of opportunities, including the like scholarship or the like different kind of skill set that we still need to put it on. But again, because of this current coup as well, and a lot of youth from the Myanmar has to like came to the Thailand for study purpose, for the different kind of purpose as well. So working with them is really fantastic. As I'm a youth also, we gotta like learn each other, peer to peer support. This is what we mainly targeting as well. Um, and again, of course, like sometimes we also not only targeting the youth, but also like the related professional and expert area, right? This is what we need to collaborate each other. So yes, again, like my point is that like we target you, but not because of you because of they are marginalized or they are underprivileged, right? This is one thing that we mainly concerned about it too. And again, um, like what should I say is that like we want them to step on the opportunity that we provide to them and they go for the next like level for their life. We don't meant to working with you, and also they need to be stick around with us. This is what we are not doing. We want what we have right now. We want to provide them, and based on those changes or the opportunity or the learning process, they can step on what they want to get it or that they can correct and they go on next opportunity. It could be their like career or it could be their academic journey as well. So yeah, this is how we mainly working with youth. I think it is like the whole my life. I've been working with the youth since I started to do the performance as well.
Thank you. I think all of you shared really interesting experiences. I mean, as someone that is not so young anymore, it's great to hear about the different sort of approaches and the importance of working with and promoting youth voices. And I like how you shared about the exposure and the exchanges. So urban youth with rural youth, but also that intergenerational exchange, but also recognizing not all youth are different. You know, you have you were sharing about working with youth from different ethnic groups, different levels of education, and the mobilizations you have done. So really appreciate you sharing some of those experiences. Are there any questions from, okay, yes. And you? We'll take both at once.
Yes.
And if it's for a particular speaker, you can.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I'm Abby from the Philippines. Any one of you can answer this. With all the challenges that you have been experiencing, you shared the how do you say that? The challenges and the intimidation, the harassments. I think my question is, how are you, and how do you cope with all of these challenges? Yeah.
This is a psychological question. So, would like to go first?
We'll take two questions.
Yes.
ចាជំរាបសួរទាំងអស់គ្នាដែរខ្ញុំចូលសពោះមកពីប្រទេសកម្ពុជាតែពិតទៅខ្ញុំមិនមានជាសំណួរអីទេប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំចង់ចូលរួមតេតទៅនឹងដោយសារតែចាប់អារម្មណ៍ហើយសូមកត់សរសើរដែលពួកគាត់ជាយុវជនទាំងអស់ចំណាយពេលវេលាជាលះបង់កម្លាំងកាយចិត្តនៅក្នុងការចូលរួមចំណែកនៅក្នុងការអភិវឌ្ឍសង្គមក៏ដូចជាធ្វើការដើម្បីប្រទេសជាតិរបស់ខ្លួនឯងរៀងៗខ្លួនហើយខ្ញុំចាប់អារម្មណ៍តេតទៅនឹងផ្នែកសិល្បៈដោយសារខ្ញុំក៏ជាសិល្បៈម្នាក់ដែរនៅក្នុងការធ្វើការងារសិល្បៈនៅក្នុងការតស៊ូមតិដើម្បីប្រយោជន៍នៅក្នុងសង្គមមួយគ្នាហើយយើងក៏ជាអាចហៅខ្លួនឯងថាជាសកម្មជនសិល្បៈឬក៏ជាសកម្មជនដូចគ្នាអញ្ចឹងខ្ញុំចាប់អារម្មណ៍គាត់ខ្លាំងមែនតើហើយនៅប្រទេសកម្ពុជាពួកយើងក៏មានសកម្មជនសិល្បៈមួយក្រុមដែរដែលមកពីចម្រុះគ្នានៅតាមខេត្តបណ្ដាខេត្តផ្សេងនេះដែរយើងសង្ឃឹមថាយើងនឹងអាចធ្វើការរួមគ្នាតាមរយៈការប្រើប្រាស់សិល្បៈក្នុងការតស៊ូមតិបង្ហាញពីរឿងរ៉ាវដូចជាបង្ហាញពីតម្រូវការការពាររបស់ពួកយើង My name is Sokunmolika. I'm from Cambodia. I would like to thank you all. You are young, very brave, and I really appreciate what you have contributed to our society for development as well as for the struggle. And also, I'm coming here because I'm come along with other youth activists or how to say community art, and also the group here come along from Cambodia and also from other country. And I would like to express that it would be good that we should join our solidarity across the border with you all, and then it's really be good. So, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
ជំរាបសួរខ្ញុំមកពីកម្ពុជានៅខេត្តសៀមរាបស្រុកអង្គរធំឃុំលៀងដៃចាអញ្ចឹងខ្ញុំមានចំណាប់អារម្មណ៍មួយដោយសារខ្ញុំអត់ចេះអក្សរផងហើយចេះតែជាយាមអញ្ចឹងខ្ញុំមានចំណាប់អារម្មណ៍មួយទៅលើក្មួយមកពីខាងហ្វីលីពីនអញ្ចឹងពេលដែលក្មួយប្រមូលយុទ្ធជនហ្នឹងដែលពួករងគ្រោះហ្នឹងតើក្មួយមានការលំបាកប៉ុណ្ណាហើយមួយទៀតពេលដែលយុទ្ធជនបានចូលរួមជាមួយយើងហើយតើយើងអប់រំគាត់របៀបណាយើងដឹកនាំគាត់របៀបណាដែលគាត់បានចូលរួមចាអញ្ចឹងខ្ញុំមានការត្រេកអរណាស់ចំណាប់អារម្មណ៍មួយនេះដោយសារក្មួយជាយុទ្ធជនហើយមានភាពក្លាហានដឹកនាំយុទ្ធជនទូទៅគ្រប់ដែលមានបញ្ហាបានមកចូលរួមជាមួយក្មួយសូមអរគុណ
My name is Jinta. I'm from the Angkor Thom community in Siem Reap province. I would like to express that the questions to Philippines in regards to the mobilizing youth and what is the strategy that you have done with the youth and you can mobilize, how to balance in terms of information that you are engaged with them, how to demonstrate, with those such of information to make sure that the youth are more engaged in the process. And yes, this is what I'm interested in. Thank you.
Thank you. You can think on that, Jhewoung. First question, I think we'll take, simple question, but maybe not a simple answer. How are you? In the sense that you are, all of you, operating in quite challenging circumstances where a number of your colleagues, friends, as well as yourselves are facing threats and harassment. And I know, in your talk, you also mentioned about the importance of psychosocial support beyond material support. So, but maybe whoever would like to go first to answer to that first question.
Who's a lucky person to be? Thank you for the question as well. It's a very reflecting questions of ourselves. Like, how am I? Physically, I think I'm good, and spiritually, um, well, again, the life is always learning, and sometimes you need to overcome, and sometimes, of course, based on what you are doing, you need to engage with the more people, more story, which is more tragic in your mind, and it will be stick. It's more like a secondary trauma that you had it, right? So, um, uh, thank you again for the reminding to remind myself, or also remind yourself, are you really? Um, in that sense, I think I cannot give the exact answer. But thank you for anyway.
Um, for me, as a young environmental activist in the Philippines, that question of how is our like mental state is quite um, not so much talked about. Like we don't really talk about our mental health much. What we do is uh, it's kind of hard to actually answer because I mean, for me, at least for me, whenever I go to the communities, I always prepare myself to become more accepting of the situation in a way that accepting in a way that we have to think of ways on how to stop this intimidation, harassment coming from different conflict or like for example our government who are trying to intimidate and harass us. Um, it's really more of um, not really fine, not really bad, but just so so. But it's like this. Whenever I go to the community, I always feel the motivation and the enjoyment to sort of be with them, become one of them, and just know their struggle, their daily lives. It's more of giving me strength to continue, and it helps my mind to be more at peace whenever I go to the community because it means that I am not. I mean, it sometimes means that it is not just me who think or like feel the same way with these environmental issues. I have a community or I have people who share the same dilemmas in terms of our struggle. So to get the question, I think I'm gonna say not so fun because of the harassment and intimidation, but not so bad because I have community who actually supports me. I have my family who supports me, my friends, and yeah, specifically my colleagues who are also here, our advisor, and also the head of the People's Solidarity for the disaster against disastrous and destructive dams in the Philippines, John Pasqua, who's always giving me advices on how on how to stay focused on advocacy. And I think having someone who can who you can talk to is something that's best. So yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for a really meaningful question. Actually, it's a bit touchy, but that's fine. For me, how am I doing? I can say that I'm good, but sometimes it's a bit frustrated because like the more I expose to the problem, to the issue, the more I feel like what can I do for them? What should I do? How can I solve the problem? But actually, there's not always a solution to every problem. Um, how I cope with that? So how I cope with that? Because I keep thinking that I value my work, especially the people that I work with. And when I see the situation, it's also inspire me because I see that they keep fighting for their own rights, they keep fighting for their livelihood. And the thing is that I always have my team to talk to. They are so inspiring, like my family, especially like my parents. They always give motivation. They always telling me that my work is priceless because I do for the community, for people. and like yeah for everyone. So that's all. Thank you.
Second question.
Yeah. Thanks. So I think, yeah, easy question, not so easy to answer, but it was really good that all of you sort of touched upon the importance of support, your community of support, whether it comes from your peers, your friends, your family, but also drawing and being inspired by actions of others and saying, yes, this is, when we're talking about campaigning on these sort of issues, which are politically sensitive, do have powerful interests involved, it can be, like you said, quite frustrating, but it was really nice of you to share where you are, drawing support from those networks that you have to sort of keep going and also drawing on that inspiration. So maybe there was that last question, which was directed at you, Jhewoung, about, what are some of the approaches that you're undertaking to mobilize youth? Can you share a little bit on that? And
Thank you so much for that question. It's quite hard actually to organize and mobilize young people, and it's also a problem for us actually as we are in the part of extending our works in other provinces. So it's kind of hard. It's actually hard to um, organize and mobilize these young people because they have different likes, they have different hobbies, they have different things they do. In the Philippines, in the province of the Philippines, the young people there are like into love lives. They are into having someone. They are into like those things. Uh, they don't have much of care of what's happening really. But the strategies and approaches that we do is actually this. We talk to them. We go to their communities. We go to their houses specifically, talk to their parents, and introduce ourselves, make them trust us, earn their respect. Also, aside from that is we also go to the different schools. We ask for them. We look for their teachers, and also the best thing that we can do to make them part of that advocacy is to go with their hobbies, to know what they're like and go with them. If they like sketching, try to have a session drawing or sketching with them, or if they like swimming, go set a date with a group of people to go out swimming, those things. And while you're doing their habits, you educate them. Like for example, when we were swimming, there was one time that there are a group of people like they are so-called tamba in the Philippines. It's like they're out of school young people. What they do is love swimming. So our approach there was ask them and invite them for swimming. And while we are swimming in the Agus River, that's where I asked them to go. While we were swimming, I informed them and educate them on the importance of that river and what will be the effect of the Kaliwa Dam construction, if the effect of this Kaliwa Dam construction to the river that we were swimming into. And I think that's one of the best things that we can do to really ask and make them part of that advocacy work. Um, know their hobbies, know what they like, go with their hobbies and their likes, become one of them like that. Earn their trust and respect. And once they are equipped enough with information that you are giving to them, they for themselves, you will not anymore ask for them or look for them. They will be the ones to actually approach you, look for you, and go with the struggle with you. Yeah. Thank you.
thanks, Jhewoung. I think that point about building off, existing interests, because it's not about you imposing something, but that is more about that two-way engagement. What are they interested in, and those opportunities to build that relationship and trust and more meaningful engagement and building that over time to generate that interest. Are there any other questions from the floor? Yes.
Hello, my name is Suchita and I am from Cambodia. And I think I have two questions. The question is, what's the biggest problems with today's youth? And do you think all people understand today's youth? And I think that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll take a shot.
បាទជំរាបសួរបងប្អូនបាទខ្ញុំបាទឈ្មោះខេម៉ាមកពីកម្ពុជាហើយខ្ញុំមានសំណួរមួយចង់សួរទៅកាន់សកម្មជនទី1រកការចោះរបស់នៃការចងក្រងរបស់បងទៅតាមសហគមន៍តើជួបបញ្ហាខ្លះចំពោះអាជ្ញាធរមូលដ្ឋានតើគាត់មានការតាមដានឬក៏គេសង្កត់ទ្រាំសកម្មភាពដែលយើងធ្វើហើយក៏ដូចជាសហគមន៍តើគាត់ធ្វើម៉េចដើម្បីឲ្យសហគមន៍គាត់ទុកចិត្តនិងចូលរួមសហការរកការទាមទាររកដំណោះស្រាយរបស់ពួកគាត់ហ្នឹង
Hi, my name is Kema from Cambodia. So I have two questions. One is how to do organizing and what is the most challenging for you, like in terms of surveillance or operations, how you face with that. And another question, like how you make, organizing community, how you make the community really trust in you and participate with you. Yep, that's all. Thank you.
Any others? No? Okay.
Okay, thank you. My name is Toshi. I'm a youth at heart.
Yes.
Okay, my question is more toward Jhewoung, but the other speakers can also share your thoughts. So Jhewoung, do you also work regionally, or how working at the regional level, particularly the ASEAN level, may help your local struggles? And I ask that question because I think many of us are here with the assumption that working at the ASEAN level will help our local or national struggles. And here in the Mekong region, we already have various networks, particularly working on hydropower dams, right? But to strengthen our regional network, we need to outreach to the other side of ASEAN, the island part. So I think getting your thoughts, expectations about the ASEAN level networking, particularly from youth perspectives, will probably help us, developing ideas how we can cooperate. And like I said, the other two speakers can also share ideas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you don't have to answer all three. So we have first question, the biggest challenge or issue with youth, and I think that's more around engagement. The second question was broadly around, how do you organize communities, navigate those challenges and build trust? And the third one around the sort of, how can we link, or are you already, linking regional with local? What are the opportunities to do more of that? Who would like to go first?
I think I've been
You can
I think
answer
I've been
in any order.
speaking so much already. So I think I'm gonna give the opportunity to my co-panelists here to answer the question.
Co-pilot.
Because I might,
From me?
Yeah.
Okay, it's always lady first, right?
No, not that.
Okay. So thank you for the question. The question number one is, what is the problem of today youth? So I think the biggest problem for today youth is about the polluted of social media. So I will reflect just apart from my country. So from what we see is that why social media, from what they're sharing. So people they try to formulate themselves, or they try to build themselves up to the trend that they've been sharing on social media. And what I see is that they start to focus more about self-love rather than the society problem, or the like demand for the change or the issue. And the other thing is that these days people they try to focus more on their career rather than just the a better a better life for all. Like for example, if you are a student, I think it happened to me too when I was a student. Like what I focus more is about my education rather than the issue, rather than the problem that happening in my society. Yep. And the other question is, do you think all the people understand youth? From what I say, I think it's miscommunication. Yes, it's a miscommunication. Like from all the people what they think, but it's not for everyone here. Yeah, it's like they have their own perspective since they been through a lot of like experience like war, change of society and stuff. And for youth these days, they are up to the trend of the development and stuff. So that's why from our organization, we try to connect youth with all the generation by arranging different or various activity, especially with the ground people. Like we try to connect youth with farmer. We try to connect youth with people that been through different history and stuff. Thank you.
I think the first question is more relating to the previously or one of my panel answer already about mobilizing youth. We also have a similar barriers targeting to those migrant community. So as you know, migrant community, also called mobilizing community, they are on and off. So like they don't always, particularly stay in one place. So one time you might see in one of your activity or the escape within training, you might see one of them. Next time you see the new faces, and this is one thing that having the problem with it for us, that how we can target those people to give what we want to give them and to be more effective, right? Because let's say particularly as an example is that sometimes we need a long workshop, like a series of workshop, right? Since those migrant youth or the mobilizing youth have a different schedule. They have a work schedule, they have a school schedule, they have a family to support, so that sometimes our schedule doesn't fit to their schedule. Then how we can balance their schedule and our schedule, so that mainly we have to do, for example, like this is a very particular example, we have to do very Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday, I say to fit their schedule, right? But for our schedule is like this is a day of holiday. But again, sometimes we need to choose like evening classes for them. So this is one of the way that we're trying to approach to them by arranging or adjusting the schedule that we have. This is a very particular example of how we engage with those community. But again, the reason of on and off or the mobilizing you is something that we cannot stop, because they are moving around for their life opportunity, right? We are just on the way that put some skill set for them to use those skill set in their life. Maybe sometimes those skill set might not be useful for them. Sometimes they will take a little. Sometimes, okay, this is very useful for them. So this is one thing that we need to understand, that whenever we provide the advocacy or the advocate or the like capacity building training, we need to put in the mindset that this is not for everyone. Yeah, this is the way that we're trying to engage with the community, especially like those mobilizing stuff. Another one is that how do you build a trust, community trust? Again, even though I work as a youth community like engagement people, but also my organization is targeting the education, migrant education. So we need to build a lot of community trust to provide their education, to reduce or to like eliminate their community perception on the migrant people. They are like discrimination stuff. And there are different kind of, something that we can invisible forces, very like slow forces. We need to like do it one by one, also like very step by step, such as like put in the activity first, and then or there may be discussion or negotiation with the like, community first. This is one thing that we're trying to approach to the community and build the community trust as well. Yeah, this is one thing that particularly we're trying to do. And also, please remember that this is a long-time investment. You cannot, for my program, as a personal experience, we cannot just say that like this workshop, this training, or this like process is effective. Maybe short time you might see the effective, but what we're doing is a long time. In the future, how we can see this community in the future toward to this community, right? Let's say Thai community toward to the migrant community, how their perception, on their perspective will be more like open to the migrant community. So this is very slowly we are trying to move forward, and there is no like separated. Like there's no totally separated. I am going to do another question. There's no like totally separated, like youth and the senior people, right? Or so-called old people. I think I should come this way and say that like old people. So yeah, there's no like totally separated because anyway, I already mentioned that technically or the experience level, we somehow need to rely on those so-called senior people as well. Because this is a process that we do, we need everyone to be in the process. And if we are only targeting youth, so-called youth, then I think this is not diverse enough. Yeah. So this is my point of view. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Aung Khant. Toshi's question, if you could touch upon a little bit about that, about regional and local links in terms of campaigns and.
Okay. Yes. With this question, unfortunately, as of now, we don't have that kind of connection yet at the regional level. We are still at the local level, but of course, we are also welcome, and we also would try to look for different CSOs or organizations that will help us in the campaign, in the struggle of our community, not just in the specific community where I live or where the Kaliwa is, but also with the struggle against dams in the Philippines. So in terms of his question, I think as of now, we don't have that regional level connection yet. But if you people from this event can have a communication with your struggle as well as with our struggles, we are open to that, to exchange conversation, exchange ideas with each other on how we can be more effectively organize our community, as well as to stop this development aggression that is happening in Mekong region and also in the Philippines. I would just like to add to the question earlier about do the elders understand the youth or things like that. It is more of, I think it's, I mean, based on my experience, my mom is kind of scared on what's going to happen to me. Like, she know what I'm doing. She's just afraid that I might die in the future because of this advocacy, because she knows that the intimidation, the harassment, the killings, the attackings of our government, environmental defenders are really that rampant. And it's not that they don't understand the elder people. Of course, not to defend the elder people, but I think they understand. It's just that they want to avoid. They want to avoid and make sure that the younger generation is secure and safe in terms of advocacy work. Um, and it is, I think, the problem of the young people as well these days, because as young people, to for us to be able to really pursue for the environmental protection and conservation, we have to work with other sectors as well as just like the snapshot is doing and all other panels here are doing. We are working with different sectors, and sometimes it is hard for young environmentalists, young environmental defenders to actually approach other people in different sectors because they sometimes think that these things are kind of, what is the word? It's the elder people sometimes they find it a little amusing and quite weird because these other people already know what's happening, and sometimes they would say that, oh, I've already been there, this is what will happen to you, things like that. But of course, the generation now is different, so I think that's the part where the struggle is trying to give the idea to the elder generation about the existence of things that we do as the young people. And sometimes the social media is actually one of the things that makes this individualism and apathy like that. They build this culture of apathy to sort of like divide the attention of the younger generation so that um, there will be no sort of struggles coming from the community. They would try to divide the attention of the younger generation so that uh, you know no struggle coming from the community will arise. Things like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more questions from the floor? If not, I might ask one follow-up, then we can sort of wrap up because we're reaching towards time. So thanks for sharing all that. I think all three of you in your initial talks, but it's also come out in your responses, sort of touched upon this notion and the importance of solidarity. So you talked about it, Molika, in terms of the ASEAN Grassroots People's Assembly, as well as the other work you did, where you brought people from different groups. And Jhewoung, you were touching upon it just now about people from different sectors. Aung Khant, you talked about it in your talk, about working with Thai students and other groups. So just want you to share a little bit sort of the importance of solidarity. And we have people in this room that are from labor groups, environmental groups, different countries. What is sort of one key message in terms of something that they could do to support the actions and the campaigns you are working on? Molika went first last time, so okay, let's start from here.
Thank you so much for the chance. I believe today today I came here to just to advocate again. I know that everyone's already aware of what is happening in Myanmar, but again, I believe that we still need to advocate more and more because I feel like as an outsider, or in terms of outsider, I see the not Burmese people or the Myanmar people, which means that you still have a internet connection that what is happening in Myanmar. I didn't really know what is happening in Myanmar. But for the generally, people might think that Myanmar is so-called Burmese. It's also getting normalizes in terms of the information, and therefore we see in the social media are not basically the truth. And I think we all know that. But we still need to advocate to the community that is not the truth. It should be including everyone's and raise the solidarity across the regions. And this is the main thing that I came here for today, to repeat again that what is still happening in Myanmar, and don't not forget it, and please try to advocate as much as we can. This is the only way that we can be and keep in touch with the situation. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm not clear with the question. Can I please get the question again?
Yeah. So, all of you talked about the importance of solidarity in, engaging different groups, both inside an outside country. So, and we have people from different countries working on different areas. So what is, one sort of key message or request for support in terms of solidarity to support and strengthen the campaigns and work you are doing?
For me, since I work with youth, I can say that I can say that it's not like a really big move, but it's bit by bit they're trying to do. So for me, I believe in solidarity because only when people they come together, they join hands in hands, they are willing to share, they are willing to give in what they demand or the issues, so that they can form a better world, a better living society. And I think unity is the key to everything for me as a youth.
Thank you so much. For us, I think the only thing that we can do is really to have solidarity. For us to answer and resolve this environmental crisis and environmental injustices that the world, the regional area, the Asia is facing, the Philippines is facing, is to have solidarity. Because we can both, from across the region, we can both ask or tell different government to stop, different constructions or development aggressions that's happening in a specific country. It's like also having solidarity would mean exchanges of ideas, and strategies, and tactics on how to work with community organizing and solving problems in different countries. And I think our request in our organization is still at the local level. I think it is the opportunity for us to ask and request for your regional solidarity. We are requesting and asking for your help in all aspects. We are asking for your help. It could be in the form of strategies and tactics, resources, human resources, and all. We are asking for that because our community needs that. We are at the do or die process because the construction of Kaliwa in the Philippines is continuing, and not just Kaliwa, but there are also other dam proposals in the Philippines that we are anticipating, and we have to struggle to also. And of course, I know that it's a little bit too selfish for us because you also have your different issues and struggles back in your country and also in the region, but it is the only way for us to resolve these struggles, environmental struggles, to have solidarity. And yes, we are asking for your help. Thank you.
Thank you, Jhewoung. Any last concluding remarks before we wrap up from any of you?
I think I have. It's more of, I'm so sorry, I talk a lot. It's more of like a reminder for us that the air we breathe, the land we stand to, and the water we intake into our body is part of the environment. And without the existence of this, there's no life on Earth. So we have to remind ourselves that the only existence of human race is because of the environment. So we have to protect, conserve, and save the remaining rainforest and the Earth as our common home. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very great message to sort of highlight the links between, the environment and people. Without life on Earth or a healthy environment, we can't have healthy people. But also, I'd like to really thank all three of you for sharing your stories and experiences. And I know under very challenging circumstances, but I also liked your sort of messages towards the end around solidarity. Molika, what you mentioned, unity is key. About building, there is strength and power, not only in the diversity, but of different experiences and different groups who are operating at different contexts from local to national, but for all of us coming together and building and exercising that power, and that is critical to campaigns. And the different And the fact that all of you shared, this is not just one-off. It is a long-term commitment or investment, step by step. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Molika, Jhewoung, and Aung Khant for sharing their stories and time with us. And you can, if you have more questions, they'll be around during the break. So feel free to continue these discussions, because part of this week, is to share those experiences, build those connections. So it's not just about the event this week, but that we do continue this struggle and campaigns going forward. And with this theme, which is around promoting people's voices beyond national borders. So thank you, everybody. Enjoy your break, and let's continue the discussions.
Thank you. Kubunka. Thank you, Jack. Yeah. Thank you for handsome moderator for today.
Thank you so much.